Howdy, how are you? It's me, Andrew. I hope you had a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, a joyful Kwanzaa, a tremendous Three Kings Day, a lovely Boxing Day, whatever holiday you happen to celebrate. I hope you were warm and surrounded by loved ones. We're coming up on a new year, folks, 2023. It's going to be very exciting, and I wanted to tell you about something that's going on. A show, that's right, January 21st at the Brick House Lounge in Surfside. Windley, the band me and my pals are in. We're going to be playing some tunes. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're not alone, though. Local legends, the Dirty Earls. They haven't played a show since about last summer, and they've been cooking up some new tunes. It's going to be great to see them again. Baby Yaga from Charleston, South Carolina. They got a new EP. It's called SSDD. I hope you go check it out. And also, Clean Sweep from Darlington, South Carolina. They'll be joining us as well. And it's Saturday, January 21st at the Brick House Lounge in Surfside. It's going to start at 8:30 p.m. It's only $10 to see these bands. I hope you can make it out. I hope to see you there. And I hope you enjoy this week's WindleyMania. Ta-ta! All right, howdy. Welcome back to WindleyMania. Of course, it is I, Andrew. Alone. Not alone, actually. It's weird without man's best friend here. And I'm not in the storage unit either, which this is the most comfortable I've ever been recording ever. I'm laying in my bed. I'm laying back. My feet are up. The microphone is angled at my mouth. I might have just to do this every time because this beats a no internet ass, stiff ass chair, no AC or anything storage unit. So this is quite the treat, and it is quite the treat to have Anthony returning from Pro Wrestling Proverbs.
Well, thank you. I'm not as comfortable as you. I
can see that.
I'm in a old office chair, but I have AC, or heat now. I'm up north. We got heat on, but yeah.
Detroit.
Yeah, you should definitely be more comfortable for the rest of your the next couple episodes you guys do. Just make everybody come to you and just have you laying around the bed.
I do partake in the easy living lifestyle. It's the philosophy I believe in, and I think this is going to have to be part of it. And it might soon just turn into being in bed constantly, and just having bed sores and being more gluttonous than I am already. So I'm looking forward to it. This is just the beginning. Last time, usually when I record at the house, it's usually I'm in a chair or, but this I had to get in the bed.
It's like a late night hour with Andy here on 97.5.
Sweet dulcet tones. But Anthony is here for a reason. It's the end of the year now when this is coming out. It's 2022 is over. And I feel like WindleyMania is adjacent to a topic that is very near and dear to my heart, and that's pro wrestling. But I try to not go into pro wrestling all the time because I know if I go on these long rants or banters, I'm going to get darting eyeballs from man's best friend, Devin Hopkins, or whoever else that, it's time I just shut my mouth. I mean, we did the Hulk series earlier this year that you took apart.
Yeah. I'm glad we're not doing anything like that again.
Depending on what's going on for Christmas, we have not recorded the Christmas episode yet, but we could be being greeted by our Hulkster brother again. I don't know. I hope not. Let's all hope not.
But need to keep him away.
We'll already know by the time this comes out what happened and my mood, I suppose. But we're going to be doing our last year I wrote on our useless blog that has a bunch of useless things on it. a match of the year. I did a top 10 match of the year, and I asked some folks to tell me some of theirs. And I did not do that this year because I was busy, quite frankly. And but now I'm dedicating a whole episode to it because I want to. And I asked Anthony here to join me, and we're going to give our top 10s. And but before I get into that, I mean, you guys usually did. Last year, you guys did the year in review. Are you guys going to do that again? The two-parter?
Most likely. There's a lot more to cover this year than last year. Wrestling was crazy this year. Vince McMahon retired this year, and like I feel like that hasn't like hardly been talked about.
I think he did not retire. He resigned in disgrace. Is the more appropriate verbiage, I would say. But
we're gonna do that again. We last year we did our top 25 list, like wrestlers, and as of this recording, we finished it yesterday. It should be out when this.
You guys did it?
Yeah, we have the list made. We just made it last night, and when I get off of here, that's when I'm gonna be working on getting all the graphics made for that. So those are gonna slowly come out over the next couple weeks. Well, when they're listening to this, all of them should be out. So be able to see who our number one ranked wrestler is. And I'm not gonna give it away here. It's I'm
just gonna guess because again I did mention that I listened to the most recent episode of Pro Wrestling Proverbs, and I'm gonna guess that number one spot went to Tyrus.
It did not go to Tyrus,
the NWA World's Champion. Tyrus.
It's funny about that is we didn't like when we sat down to record last night to record that episode. We weren't going to talk about NWA or Tyrus at all. We made the top 25 list, and then we were going to record 2 episodes. One was going to be about William Regal and the possible return of The Rock, and how the response that some fans have been giving that. And we're doing a Christmas episode as well. Come out like on Christmas Day. It's gonna be like a little fun episode, talking about like wrestling Christmas themed events.
Okay,
but something like Logan saw something online like while we were doing it, and it just pissed him off. So
it was something like at Billy said, right? Billy Corgan.
Yeah, something Billy Corgan said. Something about how people like Tyrus are like the future of wrestling, or what he wants wrestling to be, or something like that. And it just set Logan off. So we had to scrap that. Like, we're gonna do this now because I'm not gonna be as pissed off about it like 3 weeks from now when
gotta hit it while it's hot.
Yeah. So now we gotta find another next week. We gotta do a lot of our Christmas stuff, and we're gonna have to crunch that in. But yeah, I don't know, did you listen? I want to plug this episode too while I'm thinking about it.
Okay, go ahead.
Our Montreal episodes.
The Screwjob ones? Yeah, I did. I listened to every episode.
I really enjoyed making those ones. So if you're listening, you're a big pro wrestling fan. I hope you are if you're listening to us talk about the top 10 matches of 2022.
That's the thing. Our the WindleyMania listenership, I'm not really sure where they lie. I feel like some outsiders will come join us for this episode, maybe just like curious, because that's what happened when we did the Hulk series. And sometimes, I mean, when we talked about Alf that one time, people from like Alf is huge in Germany. So like when we were doing Alf and stuff, like people like German folks were visiting all the Windley shit, and it was a good time.
I have like I check on I upload through Anchor. I don't know what you use.
Yeah, Anchor. Yeah.
I was looking at the demographics earlier, and we have a Germany is our second biggest audience behind the United States. We have like 5% from Germany, which is crazy.
I don't know what ours is. I haven't looked at it in a while. But
you should go on there. They have like a Spotify Wrapped for your podcast.
Oh, I did look at that. I don't remember what the countries were. I just I forgot, there was a funny like statistic, like it was like a certain amount of people who it was like who was the number one we were the number one podcast for, and we were like trying to
Yeah.
guess who it was, because it's totally someone we know,
Yeah.
like people we know, but I don't know. It could
But
be Devin. He's a big fan of the show.
He listens to his own podcast.
He loves listening to his own voice. Yeah.
So I'm the opposite. Sometimes my girlfriend would like want to turn it on like while I'm in the car. And I'm like, no, turn it on.
Your wow. Your girlfriend likes this show.
Yeah, she's I don't know, she listens to it like a Netflix show. She'll wait for like 8 of them to come out, and then she'll just binge them at work like for like 2 days. But like I'll tell her to turn it off. Like I can't listen to it. Like I was there. Sure, I know what I said. I don't need to listen to my voice. Yeah, even if the people who are listening aren't necessarily wrestling fans, I feel like the Montreal Screw Job with episode that we did kind of is for everyone. You know, you don't have to be a huge wrestling fan to understand what was happening on. It's kind of a drama. You can make fun of somebody, make fun of Bret Hart. It's always fun. You don't need to be a wrestling fan to do that.
Again, Pro Wrestling Proverbs. It's you guys will do like modern stuff, but also I feel like a lot of like big nostalgia things, and then sometimes Logan will do some of the historical stuff. I know he was doing his like AWA series, which is pretty cool, but
yeah, we gotta get him back on that. We have like a whole list of people to do, and just haven't found time for it. Yeah, we decided quickly that doing just this is what happened at WrestleMania this past weekend, or this is what happened on Raw isn't like fun to do like as a podcast, because then like you feel like you have to force yourself to watch like every show, and you don't want to do that. Sure. So we're like, let's just do a topic that's fun. Like we'll plan out like our next like 2 or 3 shows and just do whatever topic is hot. Like a year ago, we would never do a show on Matt Hardy and how much Jeff like fucks up his life. But now we did that, and we're hoping to get blocked by Matt Hardy, but that didn't happen. He didn't even see it, I don't think. That's why we tagged him in the tweet.
Damn, you're tagging him? Jeez.
Yeah. I just want to see how he felt about it.
Hey pal, listen to all this shit we talk. He's heard it all before. What does he care? You know?
Well, he lived it. He knows. He's like you know, it was kind of right. Every time I am about to break out, Jeff fucks it up for me. Yeah.
So I know you guys are doing the. You said you recorded your year in review, and you don't have to give all your thoughts away. But I mean, how would you describe this past year in pro wrestling, 2022? What are some like highlights that stick out to you? Some dumb bullshit that's really stucking out to you?
Oh, it's crazy. It seems like the last thing tops the next, or the next thing tops the last. And like I said before, like Vince McMahon resigned in disgrace earlier this year, and that it was like the 5th biggest news story this year.
Yeah.
It just in-ring wrestling was great this year. A lot of great matches.
We'll get into that for sure.
And then even all the like backstage politicking BS that gets leaked out has also been very interesting. Like the CM Punk stuff with the Elite.
Brawl out, as they are calling it.
Brawl out. Throwing chairs at each other, biting each other. Just recently, literally today, as we're recording, Mandy Rose gets fired for doing OnlyFans.
Yeah. Also, I'm not going to fill in like the details of like our regular listenership who may or may not like be like privy to what all this stuff even means. I'm just not going to fill that in. I'll get detailed when I get in my list, but I mean, yes, who's a CM Punk man? What is a brawl out? Who is Mandy Rose? Vince McMahon, I thought he was dead.
I don't know, he might be coming back, they say. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Maybe it's not as much of a disgrace as he thought. But apparently there was a documentary last night, and then no idea. Apparently nobody watched it. Apparently it came out.
A documentary. I remember there was supposed to be like a. Oh yeah, that I saw it like a few people like talking about it. I didn't watch it, but I know there was supposedly supposed to be like a Real Sports, like they do the Real Sports on HBO.
Yeah,
and they were apparently they were going to cover this whole thing, but that got dropped apparently. But
yeah, it's been a crazy year in pro wrestling. Like Stone Cold, Stone Cold came back and wrestled this year.
I forgot about that
exactly
until you just mentioned it. Yeah.
Like he wrestled a match. Cody Rhodes was in AEW this year, even though now he's like one of the biggest stars in WWE again. It's been a crazy year. I don't know if 2023 can top it. It might. I said
You'd
that.
Be surprised.
Who knows what's going to happen.
I feel like at the end of every year, I kind of like, I do like a sort of self-reflection on, and I when I think about pro wrestling, it's sort of like, you think about all the crazy shit, and then it's essentially what you don't expect is what happens next.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if next year it is also equally or more bananas in some regards.
I'm just trying to think what could possibly top that.
Do you have any strong predictions? Did you guys get into that on your year in review?
No, like it's so hard. Like I think Punk comes back to AEW still. I flip flop on that. So like that's just so much money, like an opportunity there.
Yeah. So when the Bucks came out on that, when Kenny was doing all that, the biting, and Matt was fucked up that whatever he was doing, like a top rope move. I mean, the crowd just responding to that. I mean, yeah, that's totally there.
Yeah, then part of me thinks like, Punk is just an asshole and he's not going to come back. He's
but I'm also like, yes, he's an asshole, but like we knew this. It's very surprising, like how like people are just like when he returned, like you guys know like what this guy is actually like, right? I mean, I kind of wish people would just like, as far as the wrestlers and whatnot, they should hopefully something, they get brought to a table, they talk through it, they put all the shit behind them, and because I'm the MJF Punk story, I wanted to see that conclude. I mean, there's a lot of shit on the table that would have been cool if they just moved past it, but I mean, it's pro wrestling, so I'm not gonna.
I read this thing too, that even if he doesn't go to AEW and he somehow ends up in the dubs, that they somebody was pitching Punk and Austin at Mania. I don't know how true that is. I remember I saw it on Twitter, so it must be real. So
yeah, it sounds just like fantasy booking, but
yeah, 2023 could be. It could surprise me. I don't think that there's enough news stories that could top just what happened this year. I know it's gonna start off strong because Sasha Banks is probably gonna. She's definitely showing up in New Japan. She might make her way over to.
Yeah, I think Bushiroad is forking out some cash for a couple of appearances for the boss.
Good for her. I think that's something she said she wanted to do, and it's not something she would be able to do under.
She's a dork and likes that whole like culture and I mean, she disappeared that one time, and she was like in one of the Sendai dojos or something.
Really?
At one point in time. Yeah, so I mean, I'm glad she's not, because I fucking hate when, you read quotes with guys like listing off. I mean, fucking Bryan Danielson did this for a few years where they're listing off shit and then they what they want to do, and then they just end up resigning, and it's like, what are you doing? Like,
you can't do that there.
I know a lot of it, like a lot of the shit like coming out of their mouths when they're like, saying stuff they want to do is there's a factor of like leveraging and just like it's like the whole the Brian Pillman thing. I mean, it's just them talking shit, trying to get the most money as possible. So, but at the same time, when folks are genuine about it, it's just like, well, what are you doing? But anyways,
in the case of Danielson, I think he was just trying to get fired, so he could go and do what he wanted to do. They kept saying like, stop doing that. Like, why are you doing stuff that you know you can't deliver on? Like, well, yeah, then fire me. And it's the same. That's how the thing with the Miz happened. I guess Brian was gonna punch him or something and like start a fight. So there'd be no choice but to let him wrestle again and come back. But who knows? That's right forever. We're talking about 2022. So
yeah, all right. So we're about 20 minutes into this, so I I think maybe we can get into our we're talking, brother. All right, let's see. Okay, now what I did, I thought about recapping my list last year but I mean, if you want to read my list from last year, it's on the Windley Hub. It's the match of the year 2021. I'm not going to recap it. I just had it out as like a refresher of like, but what I did, I don't know if you have any honorable mentions. But I was just going to,
I have one.
Okay. Well, I was going to save it before the number one.
Okay. We can do that.
Okay. So I feel like that's like a pre-production sort of thing we could have talked about, but that's okay. So let's, you got your number 10. You want to start?
Okay, I'll start. This is number 10 here. Very controversial, I know. And I told Logan when I was making this list last night that I'm putting it on here so people would get mad at me. Number 10, Roman Reigns versus Jake Paul at Crown Jewel.
Okay.
Just Jake Paul, I think he is probably the greatest celebrity wrestler ever. Is that I can make the argument for it. Roman carried him through the match, obviously, but had some great moments in it. That top rope dive that ended up getting posted online of his POV, that was awesome. Jake Paul coming out and taking out the Usos single-handedly. Not Jake Paul, Logan Paul came out and took out the Usos. Or wait, am I getting the Paul brothers mixed up here?
I think you might be. I think Logan's the one.
Logan's the one that wrestled. I don't like them. So
we had a conversation about this. Not you and I, but on WindleyMania about whether or not it's a good idea to like them as people.
It's not.
I don't know anything about them besides the. I mean, I'll let you finish up your thoughts on it, and I can add a few things, but go ahead.
Yeah, Logan Paul, greatest celebrity wrestler ever, tore 3 ligaments in his knee during this match. I feel like I had to put it on 10. I feel like Logan, he could definitely be somebody for WWE. He's a natural born heel. I think this match kind of proves it. So that's why I put him at 10. I'm glad Roman won. I didn't want him to win, but I think Logan Paul is as a hateable wrestling character. In wrestling and in real life, we'll draw some money here.
Right on. Yeah, Logan Paul. I mean, how many matches has he had? Like 3 or 4?
3. I think that was his third one.
Yeah, 3. What was the first one? That was that tag match, and then there was the what was that the hottest party of the years that they would call it, the SummerSlam. The Miz.
Yeah, he fought the Miz.
Then, what was this one? This was the Blood Money show, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Saudi Arabia. But when people are talking about like, greatest celebrity wrestler and, as far as like a rookie, I mean, it's actually unbelievable. Like how he gets it. I mean, I've seen like some people compare it to like when like Kurt Angle started, and I don't really have any issue with that at all. I mean, this guy is like, you have me like sort of dicey opinions about him as far as like who he is personally.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, as far as like a wrestler, and I mean it's actually like, three matches. I mean, only less than a year into doing it, and he takes it all seriously. I think he's like outstanding for what it is. He's like, I feel like he's even like kind of surpassing that WWE house style, which, it's the sort of the build and the big signature moves. I mean, he does the house style, but I mean, he kind of will go above and beyond with it with his output. I feel like, but yeah, I understand that. Do you have any interest in like the Observer Awards?
A little bit. I think. Was he nominated for Rookie of the Year?
Well, I know he's probably going to get a lot of Rookie of the Year votes. I don't know if there's a few people out there who I may vote before I would vote for him as far as rookie, just for like like Takuma Fujiwara is a guy that's like, he's actually like a prodigy as far as like this whole thing. Right. But I mean, this guy, Logan Paul, I mean, I understand where people are coming from with him, and I agree with all the discourse around him as far as like how good he is in ring. So,
well, you got to think about it this way too. He's a YouTuber, so I understands like the entertainment aspect of it. But he's also like an athlete. He was a boxer. Most recently, he played football. I think he was a baseball. I think he was recruited to play baseball at college, I think. So he's a natural born athlete on top of starring in movies and having one of the biggest YouTube channels out there. That's like kind of what mix those two together. You get pro wrestling. So what's your number 10? I'm excited to hear.
Well, before I get my number 10, sorry, I apologize. I was actually just thinking about this, how like we're recording a match of the year on December 14th, and the rest of December is still pretty like, there's still, I mean, tonight there's that Ricky Starks MJF match on Dynamite, which hopefully that's not cracking it. I don't know.
Hopefully it sucks.
Yeah. And then there's like a few things, and like some of the stuff, I mean, there's a couple Dragon Gate shows throughout the rest of the month where they really like kind of stacked up the lineups, like the Shun Skywalker KZ match. There's a title match on the 25th, Yuki Yoshioka, Benkei. And then just announced, I think it was like yesterday, the day before, Rev Pro announced Will Ospreay and Ishii, which is happening in York Hall this Saturday. So hopefully those are all terrible and don't make me want to rethink my list. But
you just have to remember for next year.
Yeah, or I might just re-record and
just redo your list.
Sure. But let's see, my number 10, the number 10 spot. I feel like I've seen a good handful of lists passed around, so around this time of year, through the circles I will venture into, and some guys will use it as a vanity spot where it's just like a match that has hit them in a very personal way. It maybe not be like actually one of the 10 best bell-to-bell matches they have seen. And that's what I did for my number 10, actually. But I feel like even the bell-to-bell to it, I mean, I think it's still absolutely excellent. And, but there's a lot more as far as the atmosphere and the story going into, but it comes from January 21st from the Roger Spencer Community Center in Tyrone, Georgia. The IWTV Southeast first show is Action Wrestling. It was AC Mack versus Alex Shelley. And this was the IWTV Independent Wrestling World Title match. Yeah, I mean, there's like a lot of like places I want to watch a wrestling show just to be in that atmosphere. Like Kurikan Hall is high on that list. I mean, there's the old like Rosita place that the PWG used to run at. That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
But after like watching some like action wrestling and watching this show in particular, I mean, the Roger Spencer Community Center is, I want to go down there so bad to watch a show. Like, I don't know what independent wrestling is like in your neck of the woods. As far, not like,
there's a micro wrestling right down the road from me.
okay.
that's what I'm working with up here.
Independent wrestling in the Southeast is, I feel, a little unique in a way. Just going off the basis of like watching indies, like videos from indies from different areas, like the Northwest and the Northeast, and even like Texas and stuff like that. It's a lot of families and a lot of like just like people who probably see each other at like church, probably all know each other. Kids screaming, wanting to high five the baby faces. AC Mack is a guy who is very much, first of all, he's like one of the best talkers. Very, very underrated, probably just not enough eyeballs on him, but he's up there with, Eddie Kingston and MJF. Maybe not as great as they are, but like definitely like in that territory in my eyes. And he's a guy that's sort of just like, he's more on the heel leaning side. And leading up to this match, he had like, he had won they have a tournament, the Scenic City Invitational. He had won the previous year, and he was going into this against Alex Shelley, of course, the Motor City Machine Guns.
Yeah.
People know the Alex Shelley. People like the Alex Shelley generally. But on this night at the Roger Spencer Community Center, the crowd there was like just firmly, you were actually concerned that a riot may have taken place, like if AC Mack did not win that match. I mean, and then you have Alex Shelley just like knowing that, being like a complete pro and just be like cocky as shit and, telling the crowd to shut up and that AC Mack's not worth a damn. And even like the easiest thing you can do for heel heat here is to make fun of Ric Flair. And that's what he did. And I mean, this, and then the match itself, it was just like AC Mack just fighting with all of his heart to beat this guy. And it was the pace was, high speed for the most part. I mean, there was a couple parts where they like slowed it down, of course, but there was a point in the match where people from the back in the locker room just came out and surrounded the ring and swarmed the ring. And then at the end, where AC Mack actually, he wins the title, they all just get in there and put him on their shoulders. And it's just a really awesome scene. He cuts this great promo about keeping the title in the South. I mean, so it is sort of like a little bit of a vanity pick to be in my number 10, but at the same time, like it's actually just, it's a great sight. It's just what really, like, in its core, what pro wrestling can be about. Just bringing, these guys, this guy wants to win the title. All these people want to see him win the title, and he does. And it's a great match.
Yeah, that's awesome. I respect you putting it on the list. It doesn't matter to like even like the size of the venue. Once you have like that moment, that's gonna be in like your brain, like your memories when you think back on like wrestling moments that you love. That's gonna be there, which is awesome. I know of Alex Shelley. I was looking up AC Mack. He looks like a future star here.
How long has he's been wrestling for? I have internet now. I can look this up. When did he debut? Let's see. 2016?
Yeah. June
Yeah,
2nd.
okay.
So he's still relatively young. He has time.
Sure.
But yeah, I think he was ranked 25 in the top 500 this year. So
Oh, the PWI gimmick?
yeah,
Right on.
yeah I'm, I'm
Um,
I'm excited to see him.
all right, after that weird technical difficulty, let's just get into your number 9 then, Anthony.
My number 9. I wanted to put some matches on here that have more like personal meaning, kind of like you're saying, uh, just like a moment I had, and that this one is gonna be Roman and Brock at SummerSlam. Um, just because we were in Nashville at the time, um, we ended up not going to the show. This is cause it happened over the same weekend as Starcast, and my co-host and Logan and I went to Starcast that year, and we decided we were gonna go. I told him to wait on purchasing tickets because I thought that it would be cheaper, like the day of, because they wouldn't sell as many. But it turns out they almost sold out, and the cheapest tickets were like $600 a piece or something like that. So we watched in our hotel room. Um, Logan ate some fresh baked cookies and does not remember this match.
I
So that
see.
was fun.
Yeah. I
Um,
thought he was diabetic.
he is diabetic.
He had special cookies.
Special
These
cookies,
are really
sugar-free cookies.
but these were like
Yes.
special cookies, right?
Yes.
Okay, I see.
Um, so I think it was just a fun match.
His mind must have been racing when he saw that tractor.
Well, he told me he's like he doesn't remember Brock Lesnar driving the tractor out to the ring, and he didn't want to look stupid and ask me where the tractor came from. He thought it just showed up. So I that's mainly the only reason I put this at 9 was for like that moment with the tractor and Logan not knowing where the tractor came from. Just the spot of him lifting up the ring and Roman falling out, like ragdolling out. Uh, and of course there was a cash in attempt. Austin Theory had to come out and try to cash in. That was fun. Uh, the only reason I had it on because I thought the ending of the match was pretty weak. After like 20 minutes of like just great spots using like the tractor, being kind of creative with it, to have the final 10 count of the Usos like and Roman just piling garbage on top of Brock and he just can't get up from it. I was like, okay, I just thought it was a little weak, but other than that, I had a great time that weekend. So I had to throw in Roman and Brock at SummerSlam. There, 2 Roman matches in a row. But I'll let you know that was the last Roman Reigns match on this list. Even though he's in my top 25 of the year, he only has 2 spots in the top 10 matches.
Okay. I did not watch that match, so I cannot really comment. I will say that I've seen how many matches have Brock and Roman had?
A lot. They've had a lot.
Yeah.
I that's why I was also
Okay.
hesitant of putting that any higher up because it's like any other Roman Brock match. It's just like hard hitting, but it felt different at the time. I'm kind of glad they, for the most part, have stopped fighting each other every other pay-per-view. But yeah, I would not recommend going back and rewatching it. You've seen
don't rewatch it, but also it's my number 9 match of the year.
Oh, like you saw the best part on Twitter already.
Okay.
So yeah, number 9. Don't fuck him.
Oh, I usually like the Brock Lesnar. I mean, people would get mad at him all the time, but I thought I liked how different he was and how like I liked his
Brock
matches.
Is great.
Yeah,
Brock is awesome.
Just getting there, doing the work, and getting the fuck out. Love that shit. Right on.
He's getting paid big money to do what he
Go to that
does.
pay window.
Who's the mark now? You know,
Okay.
they pay more than in my lifetime to show up and do 3 suplexes and leave.
Yeah. All right, so my number 9 is a Dragon Gate match. It was from December 6th, the Fantastic Gate, pretty recent, December 6th. This is from their fan appreciation show, so I think it's taken down now. Hopefully, it gets recirculated again. The Kurikan Hall was Open the Dream Gate Championship match. So, of course, Yuki Yoshioka versus the almost 53-year-old Masaki Mochizuki. I don't know why I said his name right. Masaki Mochizuki, of course. I mean, I love Mochizuki. I really am enjoying this Yoshioka Dreamgate run. He's part of the D-Courage unit right now with Dragon Daya and Madoka Kakuta, and they have been like, someone described them as the main characters of, I don't know if they might have went as far as saying the main characters of 2022. They are the main characters of Dragon Gate right now, essentially. I mean, the unit of their last year, the double mask Apuestas match between Shun Skywalker, Dragon Daya versus Diamante and Daya Inferno, where Dragon Daya was pinned and he was unmasked, and Daya Inferno unmasked because his task of ending Dragon Daya was ended, and it was revealed to be Yuki Yoshioka. And since then, they won Dragon Daya came back, was that towards the beginning of this year, won the Brave Gate, and then him and Yoshioka became Twin Gate champions, and it's a great team, a great little unit. And Yoshioka winning King of Gate this year, defeating Kai at Kobe World, defended against Kota Minoura the next night of Kobe World, and then basically his Dreamgate run right now, his main focus is defending against former Dreamgate champions. So he had a match against Eita at Dangerous Gate, which was like a really cool, like, I guess you could describe it almost like a old school, like Southern wrestling match. Just how Eita was in control and Yoki-Osho was doing a lot of the selling. And then at Gate of Destiny challenging Yamato challenging him rather. And then this Kurikan Hall show, Mochizuki challenging, which Mochizuki is like, I don't know if he's like my favorite Dreamgate champion, but he is definitely like the best like Dreamgate challenger.
Right.
When you look at his challenges, I mean, obviously the first match that comes to mind is that 2015 Shingo Takagi match where he challenges. I mean, possibly the best match in Dragon Gate. I mean, and Mochizuki again turning 53, still. I mean, he's the best wrestler over 50. I mean, when he was turning 43, he was the best wrestler over 40. When he was turning 33, he was the best wrestler over 30. I mean, I love Mochizuki. I mean, definitely, objectively the best kicks in all of pro wrestling, and he did a lot of that here. It's a great spot where Yoshioka's been using a frog splash, and Yoki-Osho gets the frog splash, and then Mochi just pops up and just punches Yoshioka in the mouth, and it was the punch heard around the world. It was tremendous. Just to counter from that, I mean, just Mochizuki fighting again. This is like a theme in my list, just fighting with all of his heart. And Yoshioka, his Dreamgate matches have really all been about like enduring and really selling a lot. And then there's like a point towards the match where he'll get the upper hand. He just has this big smile on his face because he's most likely going to win, which he won here. And of course, he's being challenged by Ben K on the Christmas show. So yeah, this was only a week ago this match happened, but it just instantly broke my list and is in it. So yeah,
I think we're gonna have drastically different lists.
Why? What? Why?
I just, to be honest, I maybe knew like 10% of the people you just listed.
Oh, I mean, I mean, that's part of why because like I've talked to you a handful of times, and I wanted this to be diverse as possible.
Okay,
so I'm okay with. I mean, we all like our own things. That makes you feel
better.
Yeah,
that makes you feel better about myself.
Yeah, no.
I was like, my number 8 is.
I listen to Proverbs, and I'm like, yeah, I know these guys don't watch Dragon Gate, and that's okay. Like, it's completely okay.
I'm sitting here. I'm like, man, I hope he doesn't ask me.
So, what do you feel about this? How do you feel about Madoka Kakuta's big ass?
It's big.
It's very big. You're not wrong. Do you think? No. How do you feel about Mochizuki Jr.? Mochizuki, his son was hiding in plain sight at the Torimon Reunion Volume 2 show. It was revealed that Mochizuki Jr. was there, and he's wrestling, and they reformed M2K. Now it's called M3K. It's all good stuff going on right now.
Yeah, I thought it was a great reveal. I thought Suzuki Jr. I think he's gonna be awesome. I really do.
Right on. All right, we'll move on to your number 8.
My number 8. Gunther versus Sheamus.
Oh yeah, that's I feel like that's a match that's going to be in a lot of the top 10s. I actually just recently, because I was going through like my notebook matches, and I was going through like matches I had been recommended to me, and that was near the top of the list. And yeah, I'm glad it's in your list so you can talk about it.
Yeah, just like I knew this match was going to be great, like from the beginning.
Yeah,
because Gunther and Sheamus are just standing in the ring, just staring at each other, while their respective goons are on the outside of the ring, just like taking each other out. And it's just like they were just building the intensity, like around them. They didn't move at all. They just locked eyes, and then eventually, like the match starts, and it's probably one of the hardest hitting matches in that I can remember in WWE. Just crazy. I love the love that Sheamus got during this match. I feel like Sheamus really gets shit on by some hardcore wrestling fans, and sometimes deservedly so. He can be very bland and vanilla, but on this night, with that crowd in that moment, everything just clicked and it worked out. It was a really like old school type brawl in a acrobatic like wrestling world today. Just two meaty men hitting each other. I was there for it. It was awesome.
Yeah. I just finally recently watched that. I mean, Walter is I'm not going to call him Gunther. I mean, I'm sorry. It's Walter. I mean, it
is Walter.
But I don't really care about the name change that much. But Walter again, yeah, a guy. I mean, when
Butch, you like Butch?
Now that's egregious. I mean, that's just terrible. That is a terrible name. Why haven't they changed it back yet?
Pete Dunne was a great name.
Oh yeah. The bruiser weight. But Walter, of course. I mean, what can you say about him? I mean, his series with who's that fella? Ilja Dragunov.
Yeah.
I mean, the past 2 years, I mean, they both had singles matches again. I think they had one in WXW in 2018 or 19 that was getting a lot of hype too. Well, I mean, Walter, since he's been getting eyeballs on him, for the past few years, I mean, he always has at least one, if not more, matches that get a bunch of hype. And Sheamus is a guy I really like. I mean, he again, you were talking about this. He's very hard hitting. I have like a few like weird like dream matches with Sheamus. There's Takashi Sugera, who is he wrestles with Pro Wrestling Noah right now. Mainly, he pops up in different places as well. But I just want to see them beat the shit out of each other, and I don't know if I'll get that, but Yeah, Sheamus is a guy I really enjoy too, as far as like in the ring.
Sheamus doesn't get, I don't think, enough love for the stuff he's done. I think a lot of people are just soured on him for how quickly he was thrusted into the position he was
Yeah, I was
at.
about to ask. Do you think it's because of that whole Daniel Bryan thing?
I think the Dan Bryan thing pushed it over the edge.
Because
I already thought people were
yeah,
soured on him, just how quickly he became world champion. Plus, like back then, his character also was kind of boring, if I remember correctly. Was this whole thing was he was just like an Irishman,
sure,
he's
he's
a young
Irish.
fella,
He's
right?
Irish,
Yeah,
and that is it.
that's it. That's all the charisma you need, right? Um, but yeah, but I don't know. He's put in the time. He's put in the work. And that match at Clash of the Castle proves that he can put on great matches with the rest of them. Yeah, Sheamus doesn't get enough love around here. So I'm here to maybe that's gonna be my goal for 2023. I'm gonna try to end Sheamus slander.
Sure.
Stop Sheamus slander. Next time there's a show in Detroit, I'm gonna bring a sign. I'm gonna hashtag stop Sheamus slander SSS.
Right on. Okay, I guess I'll move.
So
what's that?
Let's move on to your number 8.
My number 8. My number 8 is I actually just noticed this. It is the same matchup as my number 8 last year. It is a feud I really deeply enjoy. It comes from New Japan Pro Wrestling, March 21st. It was the New Japan Cup quarterfinal in Nagaoka, Japan. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Will Ospreay, and yeah, this is just a rivalry I love. I love watching these two wrestle. I mean, Ospreay this year has just been. You could argue that he's, past few years he's been a credible wrestler of the year. I mean, but this is just like this is like this 2022 Will Ospreay is literally just at the point of getting in your face and shaking you and being like, this fucking insane how like this guy's output is just absolutely nuts. And I'm gonna, spoiler for the list, I'm gonna be mentioning him a few more times, but
Good. I don't have any Will Ospreay on here, but he's my younger brother's favorite wrestler.
right on.
So yeah, if you, because I know he might listen to this, and if there's no Will Ospreay mention, he'll text me and be pissed off about it.
So yeah, the Zack Sabre Jr. Will Ospreay, this was their 12th match, which I know we were talking about Brock and Reigns, but I mean this. I don't know. That's I kind of like this matchup a little more out of maybe, but right now they are. I think I wrote this down. The Zack Sabre Jr. is in the lead with it's 8-4. There's like ever since I've been doing sort of like a top 10 thing, they've popped up. I mean, 2017 their Rev Pro match, and I think that was York Hall. Their 2020 match in York Hall, which. Fantastic. And then last year their New Japan Cup match was in my top 10 again. That was also number 8, and this was, it's just another great addition. And I just absolutely like just two guys who at this point, I mean, they've wrestled a good handful of times and they just want to fucking kill each other. And I that's what I watch this shit for. I want to watch people want to just compete and hurt each other. And this is one of the great Ospreay rivalries. I mean, Takagi and Okada are up there. You can either give some collar tug picks, like if you look back at like the old Jimmy Havoc feud or the old Marty Scurll feud, which I'm not going to get into depth to just for reasons. But and then Zack Sabre Jr. is just a guy in tournaments that gets on this other level in tournaments. And he had this great New Japan Cup run in 2018 where he went all the way through. I mean, last year his G1 was like just like this, almost like a submission master sort of story where he was. I mean, his first match in the G1, he he won against Naito, and literally Naito had to drop out from the rest of the tour, and he was kind of like playing that up a little bit. And yeah, again, just two guys want to beat the shit out of each other. It was a great, like, props to Kevin Kelly here, just kind of like he was going solo on this show and just going silent when they were both sitting down in the ring and shoving their feet in each other's chest. And then there's a point where Ospreay just like jumps up and he's like, fuck it, man, just get the fuck up. And they just start hitting each other again. And it's just great. A great pace. And I love Saber's like constant, like when he's putting on these wacky holds, and then he's like something Kevin Kelly mentioned as well. It's just something every like 6 seconds, he's like trying to find a more better hold. Like, if it's not tapping you out, then I want to find something that does. And then of course Ospreay's stylistically the past few years has been changing. He still does the high flying stuff, but then he's been doing these, like, his offense just been like literally equivalent of getting hit by a truck, which I find fantastic. So yeah, Sabre Jr., Ospreay, great match again this year. Hopefully they have another one next year.
And you said something. It's just that's what makes like wrestling feuds so great, is when you legitimately believe that they just want to hurt each other, and you want to see them do it.
Yeah.
And I like I said, I don't, I don't watch too much of New Japan, but I know of Zack Sabre Jr. and Will Ospreay. That might be one I'll go out of my way to go check out here, because I know how great they are.
Yeah.
Now my number 7, I put on the list. I felt like I needed to have a women's match on the list, and I know the back in my list is really WWE heavy. This is the last one for a while. It is Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair at WrestleMania 38. It was the best women's match of the weekend. I think it was one of the best of the year. They called back to SummerSlam. And I don't know if you remember the like heated arguments on Twitter between, I'll call them stans. For some reason, why Twitter's just, I don't follow any of them, but like all their shit just like gets onto my feed.
I have a perfectly curated Twitter timeline. I don't see anything I do not want to see, and that includes stuff I don't want to see. So, I think I have like at least 150 people blocked. Like, I'm not even joking.
I think what happened was, one of our tweets went like semi-viral.
Oh, that's good.
It was about Roman.
Oh, that's
and a bunch of Roman Reigns stan accounts were like interacting with us. So I think Twitter like threw us into that algorithm, and it kind of includes like the women's wrestling stan community, whatever. And I remember back then people were so pissed at SummerSlam last year when Becky came back, beat Bianca in like 10 seconds. That Bianca's buried. It's I remember seeing some people like throw like the racism card out there. I was like, guys, very obviously setting up the babyface chasing the heel again. That's exactly what it was too, is keep them separated far apart, bring them a little bit close, where Bianca is just within arm's reach of getting a title match, and separating them until eventually they meet at the biggest show of the year, and they put on a great match. And I know WWE gets criticized for their long-term storytelling, but when they do it and they actually do it right, it turns out great, because when they came back and had this match, Bianca has her moment again. She wins at WrestleMania, becoming Raw Women's Champion, and then going on and carrying the division into the. I think she's been champion. I don't think she's lost it since. I think she's been champion since then. I don't remember, but she's been carrying the women's division for WWE since then. Yeah, I just feel like this. I feel like I had to put this match on here just to represent the women. I don't know if you have any women's matches on your list.
I don't know. We have to find out.
Uh-oh. I'm nervous. I'll be honest, I don't remember too much about this match. I this is one match I didn't go back and research extensively or make too many notes down, but I remember just feeling vindicated because Logan and I said multiple times on our show that it's not the end of Bianca. Obviously, I don't know why like people are freaking out online that she's buried and she's never gonna. It was like a dumb decision for her to lose to Becky at SummerSlam like that, but it all worked out. She got her moment again, and the issue was resolved. She got her comeuppance.
Right on. Yeah, I like the Bianca Belair. I think I watched their did they wrestle at SummerSlam?
Yeah, this past year, I think they wrestled again.
Yeah, I think I remember watching that one. And yeah, when she was coming up through NXT, I mean, it was like towards the end of my like whenever I mean, there's so many hours. There's only so many hours in a week. I can't watch everything. So, but I remember her coming up through the NXT, and I was like, hey, she's I really enjoyed her. I like looking forward to her matches and stuff. So that's cool that I guess in the program with the Becky Lynch. So I can't add much to that. You said this was their WrestleMania match?
Yeah, I think her feud with Becky really elevated her into she's now like a bona fide star now, which is very deservedly so because she was great in NXT like you said, super strong, super athletic. I think she'll be put on great matches here for a while.
Right on. So where are we at? Number 7?
Number 7.
Okay, so my number 7 is from August 18th, New Japan Pro Wrestling. The G1 Climax 32 final between Kazuchika Okada and Will Ospreay. Yes, Ospreay, he's going to pop up. Again, I mean, great year for Ospreay. And then this matchup particularly, I mean, this was their 8th match together. And it's been like, I'm getting a phone call. I'm just going to ignore that. But, what was I saying? Oh, this is an 8th match together. And the whole story is that Ospreay cannot beat Okada clean. And so he beat him once, last 21-21. Yeah, the 2020. Oh no, the 2020 G1, with the assistance of the Great O'Khan and at the time B Priestley. And this was just like this matchup. It's just been great for a while, and you know, they were really focusing on how Ospreay was just so desperate to beat Okada, and just using like, you know, using a high fly flow, and I think he did like a V trigger and a one winged angel, and just trying to go there. And the pace is like, this was after a couple years of some not great G1 finals, like the 2020 Ibushi Sonata final, which is very meh. And then last year it was sort of ended abruptly when Ibushi got injured during the match, and then it ended. And this was back into that sort of like classic final, just like high pace, high stakes. And yeah, just I don't want to go too much into the Ospreay Okada at the moment, but I mean, this was just tremendous. I mean,
Right. Aren't they? Who's Ospreay fighting at Wrestle Kingdom this year? Isn't that Kenny?
Kenny Omega, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. My number 6. I was at this match. So that's why I felt the need to put it on here, and that is AEW's Blood and Guts.
Oh yeah, that little number.
Yeah, it finally came after being delayed due to COVID originally. It came to Detroit, Michigan, and I bought cheap seats to go sit there and just witness the pure violence that was blood and guts. I was walking into it. I tweeted out, "I want blood and I want guts," and I think that's exactly what I got. There's blood everywhere, thumbtacks everywhere, chairs everywhere. Um, the big spot of the match was Sammy Guevara getting thrown off the top of the cage by Eddie Kingston. Um, the Blackpool Combat Club won the match, beating the Jericho Appreciation Society. And if you remember, the whole storyline leading up to this was it was pro wrestlers versus sports entertainers.
Yes.
And thankfully, the pro wrestlers won. Yeah, it was pure chaos. I remember just being exhausted after watching this match live. It was crazy. I was there with my girlfriend, her younger brother, and her stepdad, and it was just a great night. That's why I have it so high. But man, that they filmed Rampage right after, and it was hard to stay there. It was hard. Like, I don't know if I can sit through another hour of wrestling after watching a 45-minute blood and guts match.
Yeah, those tapings. I've been to a few Dynamite tapings. Those things can get pretty long in the tooth. But it's all just like, I mean, it is what wrestling. I mean, it is as advertised. It is just a shit ton of wrestling. I mean, they're doing the Dark and the Dynamite and the Rampage. It's just like, it's.
You do get your money's worth. Yeah. I'd say. I think total we spend like less than $100 on the tickets. Can't beat it. I have not gone back and watched the match on TV, so I don't know what it looks like on television. I don't know if it translated well.
I think I got that. I was at home watching. I think I got the idea.
It was fun. It was awesome.
Yeah. You know, one thing I was hoping that they would. Hopefully, they will get to it at some point. The potential of reigniting the Eddie Kingston Claudio Castagnoli feud, which
they teased that.
They had a great feud over a decade ago in Chikara. It was like 2009, 10. It was just like some really great matches and promos, and I want them to pick up where they left off. So hopefully they do that.
Yeah, they teased it at the end of that match, and then it didn't seem. It seems to be a common occurrence of AEW.
Mm-hmm.
Something gets teased and then never brought up again.
My number 6 is comes from April 1st. I think that was WrestleMania weekend. Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor, FTR versus the Briscoes. If you watch this match.
I did not watch this match, no.
Okay, so have you watched any of their trilogy?
Unfortunately, I have not.
You are currently missing out on one of the greatest trilogies in wrestling of all time. And it is in that pantheon. I mean, this was just fantastic. I mean, like FTR, of course, they're trying to revive the old Crockett style, but then putting modern tag teams in that scenario. But then this is the Briscoes are a tag team, and they're nasty, and FTR was just as nasty with them. And this first match was just literally at the time what all I thought I could ask for out of a tag match. And they wrestled 2 more times, and then sometimes one of those matches perhaps was more what I could ask for. So yeah, this was fantastic. I hope everyone who's aware of it have seen it. I mean, but
Yeah, I'm gonna uh, get a Honor Club, I think it's called.
sure,
Yeah, and I'll end up watching it at some point.
yeah, well worth the $9.99.
I think Logan's gonna force me to watch it at some point.
Oh, he's
So
yeah. I mean, this is gonna be it's matches that are gonna be in, I imagine, a lot of people's top tens, and it's just well deserved. I mean, great.
well, I know their most recent one is getting a lot of traction online as well. So I'm anticipating watching that one as well. It was a double dog collar match, right?
Yeah, the
Most recent
third,
one.
the double dog collar match. Yeah, December 10th, the Ring of Honor final battle.
Well, speaking of dog collar matches, my number 5 was CM Punk versus MJF.
Oh,
the
yeah,
dog collar
yeah.
match. Just real quickly, this was the CM Punk I've been hoping to see since he came back. That I felt like this was his best match in his AEW run. It was filled with Ring of Honor callbacks from his entrance to his attire to spots during the match. And obviously MJF being MJF, he came out of this a fucking superstar, and then built on that in the coming weeks. Eventually, lead to him to becoming AEW World Champion. This also set up Wardlow to be a star because he turned on MJF in this match for CM Punk to get the win. Unfortunately, he seemed to have kind of died down due to the fiasco at Double or Nothing with MJF. He kind of got overshadowed. That's on AEW. I think this is probably one of the best story-driven feuds. Or that's not the right word I was looking for. Like,
I mean, that's correct. I feel like that's
Yeah.
that's applicable.
yeah, one of the best stories told this year. It comes down to those two. Super bloody as well. Just a gruesome match.
Yeah, there was that one Dynamite. I think Punk came out in that white T-shirt, or someone came out in a white T-shirt. You just knew that, like, it was Angle. It was the angle was coming, and then there's gonna be blood.
Both of them, I think both of them were. It was in Jacksonville, I think. 'Cause I literally just watched it today. Like MJF like low blowed him, and then he said the line. It was like the best thing the devil ever did was made people think he didn't exist, and I call back to that CM Punk promo from Ring of Honor, and then kind of like he got all bloodied. And then MJF was wearing like the white shirt with his like him and Punk's picture on it, and he wiped the blood across the shirt, and that's like they started selling that shirt now with like the fake blood on it. But yeah, I thought it was a great match, the best match of Punk's run so far. Elevated MJF, and that's why I put it at my number 5.
All right, we have a minute left in this call, so I'm just gonna gun it with the MGF Punk match. I'm a cheapskate. That's why I'm not paying for Zoom at all, and I should probably find a better way to do this. But yeah, I agree. That was how you're saying, the story driven. It was a great feud, and the whole like the atmosphere that night was absolutely insane. Punk coming out the AFI song. Dog collar matches are fantastic. I think they're one of the better ends of as far as you can get with a gimmick match. I prefer them more than any like table match or ladder match or whatever. It's a dog collar match. Yeah, you're gonna be chained up and you're gonna beat the shit out of each other. All right. So my number 5, we were just talking about dog collar matches. My number 5, December 10th, Ring of Honor final battle from the College Park Center in Arlington, Texas. FTR versus the Briscoes. Number 3, the double dog collar match. I mean, and you have not seen this yet, right?
Not yet. I'm going to. It's on my short list.
God, it is just it is literally all you could ask for as far as like, you know, violence and And wrestling is just it's fantastic. I'm like overwhelmed trying to talk about it. It was just absolutely. I know it's only number 5, and there just happens to be 4 matches I liked a little more than that. I mean, the whole trilogy was great. I mean, I was a little lower on the 2 out of 3 falls match at Death Before Dishonor, but it was still great. I mean, this one just was like, what a way to cap it off. And then Briscoes, spoiler, the Briscoes won, but just great. And I mean, both of the teams that this year have been absolutely fantastic. FTR, I mean, they're pushing for like a Dax Harwood Wrestler of the Year. I mean, the Aussie Open match at Royal Quest. There was that Young Bucks match back on Dynamite. All of his singles matches. I mean, the Briscoes and Aussie Open had a match at House of Glory as well, which was great. And I wish I could be more specific about these matches, but it's just sort of like, it's just like a whirlwind of like, isn't this fucking great? This is why you watch this bullshit, is because of shit like this. I mean, it's fantastic. So
I know the ref gets busted open at one point in this match.
Yes. He fucking, I mean, that guy, I forgot, Eric something, I think. He used to be a wrestler, and he ended up, he actually, you could see him just like kind of like getting the blade out and stuff. Yeah. But it was awesome. It was fucking, it was great.
That's why I fucking love it.
Yeah.
And it kind of helps transition to my number 4. It's just because we love it. Number 4 is Kevin Owens versus Stone Cold. I know. I kind of teased at the beginning, like fucking Stone Cold wrestled that match in 2022. Like, are you joking me? He took a back body drop. Like there's not specifics I can really go into on this match, other than it was Stone Cold wrestling 19 years since his last match against The Rock, against Kevin Owens, who took care of him, carried him, whatever. But it was fucking awesome. Because leading up to that, we're speculating, okay, is it gonna be just like a brawl, and they're just gonna like tussle a little bit, and last like 3 minutes, and Stone Cold is just gonna have like a party and drink beer in the ring. No, they wrestled an actual match with a ref, rang the bell, and it went on longer than anybody really anticipated. And it went so well that they're trying to find anybody else for Stone Cold to wrestle. Like, who do you want to wrestle, Steve? Anyway, like, let's get you back for another one. The only notes I wrote down here on my iPad was in all caps, Stone Cold, Stone Cold, Stone Cold 3 times. So that's all I got. Stone Cold wrestled a fucking match in 2022. It has to be in the list, and just I had to put it at 4. That's where the cookie crumbled, I guess. It probably wasn't a better match than the dog collar match, or even Becky versus Bianca, Gunther and Sheamus. But at the time, the hype was real. I couldn't believe what I was watching. So Kevin Owens, Stone Cold, number 4.
Sweet. Yeah, I mean, you figured you had enough time to rest up that neck for 2 decades.
Yeah, so it's fine. Come back for another one.
Cool. Drink a little bit of the what's his beer called? That fucking the Broken Skull IPA.
Yeah,
it's absolutely. I don't like IPAs, so to me, it's absolutely disgusting. Yeah. So I prefer a nice soda pop. He should make some Stone Cold soda pop.
Stone Cold Cola.
That's more up my alley. All right.
Goddamn, son, why don't you just drink a beer instead of drinking this cola?
Yeah, I don't want to even hear the reaction he would give me if I told him that his beer was gross, because he would just call me a little girl, and I'd feel like an asshole. But so moving on to my number, what we at 4?
4.
Yeah, number 4 it comes from November 5th. New Japan Pro Wrestling, the Battle Autumn Show in the Edion Arena in Osaka, Japan. It's for the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship. It was Tetsuya Naito versus Will Ospreay. Um, this year, Ospreay has been sort of tasked with, and I mean, we're seeing this coming up on the 4th of January, another United States match or United States Championship match against Omega. He's been kind of slated to bring like a stability to that title, and I feel like he has in a way. I mean, it was kind of like a messy little thing going. It's been messy ever since like 2020 with the pandemic when Moxley had a hold of it, and they weren't sure if they wanted Moxley to wrestle a New Japan show in the United States, and it was just a huge mess. And uh, it eventually got on. Yeah, there was that 4-way in Washington D.C. where Juice Robinson got a hold of it, and then it was vacated, and then he won it at Dominion from it was vacated. He beat Sonata for it, and he had that match against Orange Cassidy at Forbidden Door, and then there was the David Finlay great match. I think it was like the Burning Spirits tour. And then there was this match that just happened, and then more recently there was the Stardom New Japan crossover show against Shota Umino, which he's been having a good series of matches with. But I mean, this match, the first Naito Ospreay match was their first time in a ring like singles match together. It was the G1 block finals this past year, and that match was like a spectacle in a way. It was just like kind of it was like all like the like there was still some like, aggressive stuff in it too. And it's a great match, but it was more so like, here we go. This is fucking Naito Ospreay for the first time. Get into it. And then we get the rematch for here. I just went on to a different level for me because there was sort of the spectacle stuff, but then they were just, this is where they actually just were trying to kill each other, and it was Naito going after Ospreay's neck and just them just laying into each other and whatnot. There's this really gross spot where Ospreay had like Naito in like this like electric chair sort of position on the rope. Naito's legs were on Ospreay's shoulders, and Naito just spins it around and does this like he's done the spot before, the Hurricanrana off it was like the middle or top rope, and he just lands on his they both land on their fucking heads, like, and it's just absolutely disgusting to look at. But I mean, I was just fucking pacing. I was just into it, man, and it was just I really liked their G1 block final match, but this was definitely more so the what I was looking for out of these two, and a great match. And Naito right now, I mean, he had a really good trilogy with Okada this year, really good final in the New Japan Cup finals, losing to Zack Sabre Jr. And I don't know what he's doing for Wrestle Kingdom, but he had this year, and it was great. So right on.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. My number 3 takes me back all the way to January. Got Cody Rhodes versus Sammy Guevara in the TNT Championship ladder match. This was Cody's last hoorah in AEW.
Now I remember specifically watching that. Yeah.
Sorry. I just enjoyed it. It for better or worse, it kind of elevated Sammy. I know he's a very polarizing figure. Even to me, I really liked him at the beginning of the year. I even liked him when he first turned heel. Now I'm kind of soured on him, but that's okay. That cutter Sammy does to Cody, absolutely insane. He jumps from the turnbuckle to off a ladder into the cutter. Yeah. I'm like, holy shit. That's a spot that will be replayed for forever. There's a bunch of other crazy spots in this match. I know there's a crossroads off the top of a ladder, right onto Sammy's forehead. Don't know how he didn't get a concussion from that. Then there's that crazy spot on the outside. They set up the ladder between the barricade and the ring, and Sammy went up to the top of this super stupid tall ladder. He did a swanton off it, but the ladder didn't break, so it just gave him like super bad whiplash. It looked like, great. If Sammy Guevara is like almost killing himself in the match, I'm here for it.
Sure.
But Sammy Guevara ended up winning the match. And then Cody got to ride into the sunset and go on to bigger and better things. Debut at WrestleMania against Seth. And if this was Cody's, I believe this was Cody's last match in AEW. Excuse me.
Yeah, one of the better ladder matches in recent history. I think that one specifically.
Yeah.
Sammy's a guy who I way more interesting as a heel. I mean, you just look at his face; he has the heel face, and he plays it up very well. And I kind of hope there's no like tweener thing or any like trying a face turn. I prefer him as a heel, and I think he fits that role way better. And then I had Cody Rhodes at that time with the whole like, oh, sorry.
Yeah, Sammy's a real douchebag.
yeah. And just naturally. And it's
like Logan Paul.
Sure. And then I remember like this probably was mainly last year where there was a lot of Cody Rhodes discourse and just his alignment being like discussed and like, or I feel like some of that stuff was some of the more interesting things going on like Dynamite and stuff. Just his anytime he was about to cut a promo, it's just grab you by the shirt and it was just fascinating, I think. But
it's a weird thing. They were always teasing if like is he turning heel or not,
right?
And I thought they should have at the time, but knowing where he's at now,
some of the things he would do, I would say that like you can already like he would go on the whole things like I don't really believe in the black and white, I believe in the gray area, but I feel like what he was doing was supposed to be a heel. I mean, the motherfucker's entrance was like like I'm the biggest fucking dude here, and it was just like these the impassioned promos where he's talking himself up a lot. I mean, it was just I feel like a lot of it was a little more heel motivated than some people might be giving it credit for. But
yeah, he did a I think it was like a Stone Cold, one of the Stone Cold podcast things on Peacock. I saw one of the clips from it, and he described it as like being like John Cena in AEW. He was kind of trying to work in that like half the crowd is cheering for you and half the crowd was booing for you, and he really liked the challenge, and he took a lot from working with John like when he was in WWE, and he said it was more challenging than just being a straight baby face or a straight heel. But now he's totally a mega baby face right now, so we'll see how long it lasts for him.
All right, so my number 3 was from September 25th, DDT Pro Wrestling. This was the Who's Gonna Top show from Kurikan Hall. It was the KOD Openweight Championship with the current champion, Kazusada Higuchi, and versus Konosuke Takeshita. So Takeshita has been on obviously a huge run here in America, Indies and AEW, great matches again. The 2 Moxley matches, just great. The Castagnoli match, and then there's a match almost made this list. The Speedball Mike Bailey match from West Coast Pro Wrestling, also just fantastic. And then Higuchi is sort of being groomed. I mean, not sort of. He is being groomed to be the new ace of DDT in a way. Takeshita was in that role. Tetsuya Endo rather, was one of the top guys over there. He vacates the KOD championship due to concussion. Higuchi wins the KOW openweight title. I think they use that as like for the final of what's their tournament called King, is it King of DDT? I always forget. So he's the champion. He beats Endo when he returns. He's KOD tag championships. He started a new faction, of course, with it's called Harimao. I believe I'm pronouncing it right. I don't know. With Yoshimura, who he beat at that tournament final for the KOD championship. And he had all this. He has the top title. He has the tag titles. He beat Endo, but he still felt like he wasn't the top guy in DDT. Takeshita comes back and challenges, and this was basically putting putting Higuchi's flag in DDT. Like, he's the fucking guy now. I mean, the whole point of this match was to get Higuchi into that fucking pantheon, and it worked. I mean, it just fucking hot finish. Again, I talk about this in probably a lot of the matches, is absolutely just beating the ever-loving shit out of each other. There's this great spot where Takeshita has like Higuchi's arms and his head is in front of the ring post, and he pulls the arms. Higuchi's head goes fucking flesh with the ring post, and he just sits there for a second. Then he just smashes his head against it more as if he fucking loves that shit. And the finish, where it was just essentially just like a shoulder tackle, the finish, Takeshita was trying to get a running knee. He has this running knee he always uses, and Higuchi gets out of the way with that, hits the rope, and just fucking shoves him down. And Takeshita is just exhausted at that point, and then Higuchi winning in that manner. It's just a way to get Higuchi over, and it worked, and it was an excellent match. And yeah.
I know you mentioned Speedball Mike Bailey at the beginning there.
Yeah.
I just want you to know, because I think you'll like it. He made our PWP top 25 this year.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he was a guy I never particularly cared for, but this year, since his ban was lifted, he's been excellent everywhere. We went to Deadlock a couple months ago. He had a singles match against Colby Carino, which is great. And then he was in the they ran like a little tournament, and he was a part of that 4-way in the main event. It was really good. Yeah, Mike Bailey. I mean, he's a great year as well. I wouldn't be surprised if he's on more lists like that, where it's coming up now towards the end of the year. So
yeah, he's not high, but I was like he didn't make the list.
Right on.
Yeah. I'm saying that because the entire list will be out by then, so I'm not spoiling for anybody except for you. So, my number 2 is Absolute Anarchy. Anarchy in the arena, you could say.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Fucking. What's crazy about this one is I thought it was gonna just be. I had low expectations for this match watching it live, but then like the Jericho Appreciation Society made their entrance, and then GCC made their entrance, and then just Wild Thing just kept playing for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Fucking just nuts, just a real spot fest. It was literally anarchy in the arena.
As advertised.
As advertised. Don't know how else to really say it. I think it was Danielson and Jericho. I think they were fighting in one part of the arena, like in seats. Moxley and somebody else are like in the concession stand area, just beating each other up, and they're all going through the ring, to the arena. They're jumping off of the balconies. And then the highlight of the match, which like you know it's not gonna happen, but for like a split second, like this guy's a fucking madman. Eddie Kingston walks out with a canister of like gasoline, like and he's walking out there. He's gonna set Jericho on fire. Uh, nuts. Like
Yeah, the gas tank spot. Yeah, yeah.
like for about a half a second, you throw out any like rational thought that this is a scripted program on pay-per-view, that you legitimately thought that this guy was gonna murder somebody over wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
It was mayhem. It was mayhem. I can't wait for AEW to get some sort of streaming service so I can go back and watch this.
So I've been going to the movie theater to watch the All Elite Wrestling.
Well, I did that once.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. It's like it's not a lot of people, but it's like enough to where it kind of like adds to the atmosphere. And I remember that match in particular, just everyone in the theater just losing their minds and just laughing and hollering, and it was just great. So yeah.
I went to one. Just real quick, 'cause I know Zoom restricts us on time.
I'm a cheapskate. We're doing okay.
I thought Windley had a budget here. Come on.
Absolutely not.
We went to, I forget which one it fucking was. I think it was like Revolution last year, maybe. I went, but I probably won't go again. At least not with a female. It was really like me and my girlfriend.
Oh, and those pay-per-views, no. If you have a girlfriend that doesn't like wrestling, those
she likes wrestling.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm projecting.
But like I know they're rare and few between, and the other guys in the building knew that. And if I wasn't next to her, like she was getting hit on by other wrestling fans, and it was always the awkward thing. Like I'd get up and like go get something, or when we were walking in and like I went to the bathroom, I always come out and there's just some random guy, like sweaty. Like his first social interaction, probably.
Now, believe me, we had our handful of stinkers too, as far as wrestling in the movie theater in Myrtle Beach. But
there's always thing where like I'd walk up, and then he's like, "Oh, he didn't say it, but like he realized, like, oh, you're with him." And then it kind of like just like the conversation just like ended. It was really. If I go again, I'm gonna go alone. It was a good value. It was like $25 to go or something like that.
Yeah, it's like half off from the pay-per-view. Anyways, moving on to my number 2, which July 30th. I'm going to say the whole title of the show. Why not? July 30th, it was Dragon Gate Pro Wrestling. It was Kobe World Night 1, Ultimo Dragon's 35th anniversary in Kobe World Hall, Kobe, Japan. It was the team of Diamante and Shun Skywalker versus the Kung Fu Masters, Jackie Funky Kamei and Jason Lee. Oh my God, this was my favorite tag match of the year. A tag match. As soon as it ended, I waited a couple days for Dragon Gate to take advantage of what they had and put this on their Gay Aura Sports for free, or someone to share it. So I ripped the match from the site and shared it before it got taken down. But I think 1,000 people ended up watching it, so that was good. I just wanted to. This was so special. This match. I mean, Diamante and Shun Skywalker, Z-Brats. I think they were going by Sky Diamonds at one point as well as their tag team. Shun is he turned on his Masquerade faction towards the end of last year, which Jason Lee was a part of, and then Jason Lee and Jackie Funky Kamei, part of Natural Vibes. And this was the Kung Fu Masters gimmick is a thing they used to do more entirely in Kobe with Ho Ho Loon and Super Shenlong 3. And there is a train.
There, I realized I now live next to a
that's okay.
A railroad, I guess.
So Shun, this is like his first real heel run, and I mean Shun's an outstanding pro wrestler. He has a lot of flash, and then with this heel run, just adding a whole new layer to like what he can do as a wrestler. Diamante is a guy, he's improved a lot last year. He's been around with the company, I think 3 or 4 or 5 years, something like that. Not a super long time, but he was a guy that like, you know, he looked like he had a lot of weight on his feet, essentially, the way he would like walk around the ring and just like kind of choppy steps. But he's improved a lot especially over the course of last year. Jackie Funky Kamei, a guy I absolutely adore, just one of the best baby faces out there. I mean, last year he had a match against SB Kento that was on my top 10. Just when put under like these crazy amounts of pressure, he just, again, fights with all of his heart. And it looks amazing, and absolutely one of the better underdog like babyface guys out there. Jason Lee, I mean, in the corners I like to venture and talk about wrestling, he's definitely discussed as like the best junior wrestler in the world. I mean, just very crisp, just great striking, and just it doesn't even think about what he's doing. It just seems like it's just on point, great precision all the time. And I mean, this was one of the classic. This is going to go down as a classic Dragon Gate tag team match. I mean, the Ring of Honor 2006, the Blood Generation versus Do Fixer 6-man. That's like the big one that like, you know, a match that was like years ahead of its time. And this is a match that's like, I feel like on that same caliber, because it's like just shit people aren't doing is happening in this match. I mean, the pace, there's a great like exchange towards the end where Shun Skywalker and Shun and Diamante are like more of the bigger guys in Dragon Gate, where Jackie Funky Kamei and Jason Lee are on sort of the more normal or smaller size compared to that roster. A great transaction towards the end where Skywalker's going for an SSW. Kamei counters with a Torbellino, which gets countered into another SSW, which gets countered into Torbellino, and he hits it on fucking Diamante, or he gets Diamante out of the ring, and it just is like full on Kamei bang bang babyface, awesome. And they Kung Fu Masters win that match. And the Torbellino was a move that was handed down from Masato Yoshino, who retired last year. And his whole thing was that he was like fucking perfect. And that's like the standard that these guys have to like be aligned with on this roster, is to be fucking perfect. And this match is absolutely, I would call it perfect. It was absolutely tremendous. So yeah.
Now, did you have any honorable mentions? You said mine already, so I'll let you do.
What's that? What was honorable mentions?
Yeah, because Logan knew I wasn't going to include the double dog collar match in mine because I haven't seen it. So he told me that if it wasn't on your list, to make sure it gets mentioned as honorable mention, because if we didn't put it in any of our lists, we would get shit on. He said. So
we're not getting shit on.
We're not getting shit on now, so I don't have to mention them since you put in your list, thankfully.
Yeah, real quick, I can go through some of mine. September 16th, the CMLL 89th anniversary, Atlantis Jr. versus Stuka Jr., the mask versus mask match. Just not on the higher end bell to bell, like comparatively to what I would think to the rest of my list, but the fucking Zoom says we have 10 minutes again, so I guess we'll do honorable mentions and fucking restart the call. All right, so yeah, so this CMLL is just like kind of like bringing Atlantis Jr. up to that top guy spot. Speedball Mike Bailey versus Konosuke Takeshita from the West Coast. Pro match I mentioned. The Hangman Adam Page versus Bryan Danielson, January 5th, that Dynamite match. They had their draw last year, which was fantastic, and I liked this match a little more just because of the pacing of it and fucking violence, you know. Robbie Eagles versus El Phantasmo from the Best of the Super Juniors, the Kurikan Hall match back in May. Love both of those guys, and they've had somewhat of a, well, the way Robbie Eagles was brought into New Japan, or who was brought in first? I don't remember, but they were both part of Bullet Club, and then Robbie Eagles got sick of El Phantasmo's shit and joined Chaos, and they have a little bit of history, and it was just a great match. A great Kirikan Hall main event. And then Kota Minoura, Naruki Doi, and Kaito Ishida versus Jackie Funky Kamei, KZ, and UT. The Triangle Gate match from March 5th at Champion Gate. Just one of my favorite Triangle Gate matches this year. Usually a lot of fun to watch those. Minoura, Doi, and Ishida. Doi is now a freelancer, and Ishida has gone off to Glate. Kota Minoura is the lone person who is still in Gold Class. Gold Class wasn't really a faction I enjoyed too much towards the beginning of the year, but now with Minorita and Ben K's like injection of charisma, it's one of my favorite things to look forward to on a Dragon Gate show. But those are my short list of honorable mentions. And I guess before we get to number one, I'm going to send you a new link just to be safe.
Okay.
Sorry. And we're going to move on to your number one. Go ahead.
My number one was Seth versus Cody at Hell in the Cell this past year. The reveal of the news coming out that Cody torn his pack off, whatever the exact interview was. Just another reveal of him taking off his robe and it just his tit just being like completely bruised, black and blue.
Yeah,
looking horrendously bad. The fact that he wrestled a Hell in a Cell match with that and putting on that Hell in a Cell match was awesome. It was like I said, it propelled Cody into that next tier of stars for WWE. At first, when he returned, he was the hot new thing. He's like the first AEW guy to come over to WWE. But you kind of had the feeling like, can you keep this up like all year? Like he's still going to be this popular like 6 months from now. But I feel like this performance is going to resonate with a lot of fans. And when he does eventually return at the number 30 spot in the Royal Rumble next year, the roof's going to blow off the place. It's going to set up for him to have a match with Roman. If he wins that match or not, that's another story. But yeah, Seth was also great in this match, like always. Seth puts on great match after great match. Every big match he has seems to always deliver. Like this really built off their Mania match they had this year, which was also great. If I had to come up with another honorable mention, we could throw that one in there, I guess. I've just felt like something changed that night for Cody, and it's gonna be for the better. I feel like his career when he comes back from injury is gonna really take off for him, and we can thank this match, this performance, this gutsy performance for him. Put on such a great match, even though he was very obviously clearly injured.
Yeah, I mean, Cody is a guy. I feel like you mentioned things changing for the better of him. I think that started when he went back. He left WWE, went to the Independents. I mean, he put out that list that he wanted people he faced. Everyone fucking laughed at it because like, look at this fucking dork. Just and then he fucking did it and fucking made himself and everything with Bullet Club part of the time and his Ring of Honor time, and then helping out with AEW. And again, there was always that question of like, who's going to be the first guy to jump back or jump from there to there, from AEW to WWE. And it was just, I don't think anyone predicted that Cody was going to be that guy. But I mean, I guess in hindsight, it kind of makes sense in a little bit, just in some regards. But great work out of him. Good job out of Cody.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like one of the main figureheads that started AEW, that came up with the idea for it. was the first major player to jump ship. Yeah, fucking Cody, man. I'm he was me and Logan talked about it. He was my pick to be the one to dethrone Roman's reign. Uh, so we'll see if that comes to fruition here in 2023.
Sure.
I'm excited to hear your number one because there's probably a match I probably haven't seen, if I had to guess. So I'm going to write it down and I'm going to watch it. And I'm going to send you a book report on it.
All right. Well, I mean, my number one, my match of the year, my number one, my 2002. I guess this is if this was the Windley Hub, this would be the Windley Hub match of the year. And since this is WindleyMania, I guess I can declare it the WindleyMania match of the year. You've had all year to watch it, really.
Really?
Yeah. It comes from January 5th. Wrestle Kingdom 16, Night 2 in the Tokyo Dome. New Japan Pro Wrestling, of course. Kazuchika Okada versus Will Ospreay for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. I've mentioned Ospreay a few times on this, and I've actually mentioned this matchup already once on this list. But this was just, as far as that story, Ospreay never beating Okada clean, not beating him clean yet, at least. Or maybe they continue with that, and that's always going to be the chip on his shoulder. I don't know. This was a different flavor from this G1 final. Going into this, night one on the 4th, Okada beat Shingo Takagi for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Okada was prancing around with the 4th version of the IWGP Heavyweight belt, which before they combined that belt and the Intercontinental belt to make this new lineage, he wanted to bring it back to what it was and continue his lineage and his great runs and reigns and whatnot. And this was him sort of accepting, like, all right, I was the man in that fucking reign, and I guess I'll have to be the man with this lineage as well. So Ospreay in 2021 had to vacate the belt after some scuffle, some shenanigans with him going out of the country and whatnot, not being able to come back in. So he was playing it up like with his new United Empire faction. Like, you know what? I didn't fucking lose this belt, so I'm the real fucking champion. And that's what this was. He even went in with with a new entrance video where it was just like random singles matches he was having in like Indies and Rev Pro and all sorts of places. Just like this was his title defenses when they weren't actually title defenses. Isn't that funny? But and just the fucking Okada was sort of just in this mode of like, this is his familiar mode of being in a Tokyo Dome main event. And Ospreay was there to he was mad at Okada. This was like sort of like the peak of him being very bitter with Okada and just wanting to win that belt back and then some with this match. And it was an awesome spot where Ospreay does like the Rainmaker pose, and that's when Okada snaps and just absolutely just lays Ospreay's fucking shit in. And besides all that, with the heat between them and the story going in, and plus just the pacing of this match was absolutely just fucking bananas. Just these two guys, it seems impossible how they can do this for 35 to 40 minutes. I mean, I don't know how. Okada looks like he's like barely sweating. There's just so much shit happening. There's Ospreay does a moonsault off one of the fucking metal bars, which he did before in 2018 in the junior 4-way, but he had 3 people there to kind of catch him. He only had Okada here. It's just, I don't know how he didn't break both of his knees. There's a spot where Ospreay does a Sasuke special onto the floor, and Okada catches him and turns that into a tombstone. There's Okada goes for a drop kick and Ospreay turns that into a running Liger bomb. Ospreay counters a Rainmaker with a fucking Spanish fly. Just shit that doesn't make sense if you understand gravity and whatnot. But I mean, that's with Ospreay. Obviously, he's known for doing these, gravity defying moves and whatnot. But he is now, ever since turning in the heavyweight, has really turned that corner with improving his selling. I mean, how he would just simple things like just like hitting the fucking mat, doing a flat back bump. It just like the sound was so fucking crisp. It was just like it's just like little things. If you really notice them, it's just like you could. That's why he's like a step above the majority of people doing this shit today. And I mean, same thing with Okada, of course, but. And just how, and aside from again the aerial stuff, just the fucking again being hit with a fucking truck offense, the hidden blades, the Chelsea grins, that kind of shit. And yeah, it's just this was just like their chemistry that they have together, and then just taking that chemistry to a higher echelon in this main event. I mean, it's just. I've been thinking about this match all fucking year. Been thinking about both of these guys. Ospreay with his great year, Okada with I feel like an understated but great year. I know there's a lot of complaints about this, the build to Wrestle Kingdom right now with him and Jay White, which I don't completely disagree with, but I mean, he's just like the fucking, I don't know, is both great match. It's my match of the year, so yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it. So next time we talk, you can ask me about it, and then I'll give you my book report on it, and I won't use Spark Notes or anything. I'll actually go and do the work. Because I'm thinking I'm probably gonna have to get Wrestle Kingdom this year.
New Japan World.
That's what
$9.99 yen.
That's what I was going to ask you. If I buy New Japan World, can I watch
the yen's really low right now, so it's like $8.
Hopefully it doesn't go up before I get it.
Oh, sure.
Like I said, my younger brother, he's big into New Japan now. And when he wants to watch it. So I'll probably end up having to subscribe. And then while I'm there, I'll watch. So I got it written down.
Oh, right on. Well, we have this in audio form as well. So, or I could just send you the list and
just watch all of them. Watch every.
Yeah, I recommend that if you're listening to this and haven't watched any of these matches that either of us have mentioned, I mean, I would. They're top 10s for a reason. I mean, they're great matches.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'll gonna go through and try to expand my horizon a little bit. But like you said, there's only so much time in the day. Can't watch everything, and I barely watch what I watch now. It's just
sure.
We're not kids anymore. We can't just watch wrestling every night, unfortunately.
Well,
you can.
I do.
It's hard.
But I have like a huge backlog of like shit I need to watch too, as far as like just people like sending shit my way.
There's this guy I work with. I don't know how he does this. It's like wrestling overload for me. He works midnights. I work midnights. He'll work overnight with me as well. But so he sleeps during the day, so he misses all his shows live. But what he'll DVR them. Like he'll watch Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Dynamite, Rampage, Impact. I think there's a couple of shows on YouTube he'll watch, and that's all he'll do on his 2 days off. He'll sit in front of the TV and just watch them straight through.
Right on.
I'm like, that's absurd. Like, I don't know how you do that.
Yeah. So I guess we finally made it through the list, and after all these technical difficulties, and I'm never using Zoom again. I'm not paying money for them. They don't get any of my money. So
they don't deserve it. They've been a real hindrance on this podcast. I am disappointed in Zoom. I will be contacting their manager here soon.
Yeah, Mr. Zoom.
Mr. Zoom, how dare you? How dare you do this to WindleyMania?
Yeah. So this, thanks for doing this nerdy bullshit with me. I definitely appreciate it.
Anytime. I love being a nerd, especially when it comes to wrestling.
Right on.
The great sport of wrestling. I love it.
And tell everyone where you could find the Proverb Boys.
The Proverb Boys, Logan and I. You can find us on Twitter at PW Proverbs. We have Pro Wrestling Proverbs everywhere else. Instagram. We have Facebook now. TikTok. We have a TikTok. I'm trying to figure that out as an old man. We post on TikTok, and we try to post a new podcast every week. But every once in a while, stuff gets in the way. Like recently, I just moved to a new apartment, so we could not release an episode last week. But we usually try to do some podcasts every week. And if you're looking for a podcast for us to listen to, I would recommend our Screwjob episode. Like I said at the very beginning here, it's a two-parter. We put a lot of work and research into that one. But most of our shows are very you can listen to them anytime. They're not too current event related. If you want to go way back, this past summer we did a Chris Benoit podcast series, which was also great. In my humble personal opinion, you want to check that one out. And we also did a similar type of episode on the tragedy of the Von Erich family. We talked about all the crazy stuff that's happened with them. So even because I know a lot of people listening aren't necessarily wrestling fans, but they're loyal to the WindleyMania brand, and they're gonna listen all the way through. But if you wanna listen to some more wrestling, I recommend those ones. And thank you for letting me come on again. I love being on WindleyMania. It was a lot of fun last time I was here. I was hoping some more Windley boys would be on here.
Oh no!
I think Devin was on with us last time, wasn't he?
Yeah. I couldn't get them to do it. There's no way.
You want to come talk about wrestling for 2 hours?
No. Sure. But again, thanks a bunch. I hope you have a beautiful new year.
You as well.
And I hope I will too. But for more Windley crap, you can follow at Windley_band. And you could read last year's Windley Hub Match of the Year at windleyhub.blogspot.com. Maybe I'll throw some... I don't know. I'll probably not do anything. So on the Windley Hub, because it's a stupid blog that I don't use anymore. But that is all. And we'll see everyone.
Buy Windley merch.
Oh yeah, go to type in Windley Band merch. I don't know what the website's called. But we have a new shirt as well with a robot by our friend Angelo. And if you haven't seen it, go look for it or bother Devin about it. It's a good shirt. Go buy it. $20, please. All right. So that is all. Thank you again, Anthony.
Thank you.
All right. Right on.